How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Pretty good.
Good. It's good to meet you.
It's a pleasure to finally make voice contact with you both.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we've ever had like a call together, have we?
No, we haven't. Not yet. I mean, we keep talking about playing some Quake 2 co-op, but we haven't actually made the personable vocalization here. So yeah, no, this is great. This is great. I'm so honestly and like full send, really like honored that you would turn to me and be like, "Hey, can we do a practice run with you here?" And I'm just like, okay, all right, I'll do that. Everything's fine. I'm okay.
Trust us, we've been butterflying over here too. So it's been.
Yeah, we're both big fans of your videos.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, we love your shows. We were talking about like the things that we've been watching of yours lately. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. That means a lot. You know, you thoroughly understand because you create art that you put out into the world and then hope somebody responds to. So
yeah,
exactly.
A big part of this entire thing, regardless of what you make, is the last step, which is the scariest thing for everybody. It's like, my God, I hope somebody gets this, you know? Like, am I just being goofy for my own entertainment, or am I actually putting something out that someone's gonna go like, woo, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's see, that for me, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
That for me, that aspect is why I started doing YouTube, because for a very long time I had the intention of being an author, but I wanted to go, I wanted to do my own thing. I wanted to be self-published. So I've written like 6 books and I've published them all through Amazon's Kindle services.
Mm-hmm.
But the hard part about that, and the thing that took me some time to really reckon with, was not that I wanted to write and create stories, but I wanted to have that interactivity with people who read it and could, like, we could talk about it, like, oh, this, or oh, that, or like, I didn't like this, but I really liked that. I just kind of nerd out about it. And, when you're a self-published author, you're asking your friends to read something that's like 500 pages long because I'm not concise.
Yeah.
It was just a journey from that, realizing that I wanted to have people interacting with my shit, walking away from writing, but still wanted to do writing. And then I saw like Civy's videos, G-Man's videos, Trav Guy's videos, and I'm like, that's it, because I don't want to do Let's Plays because I can't talk and be entertaining while playing a game.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
But I can play it and I can write about it and then I can talk about it.
Your reviews are really good too. I like hearing you pick apart things because you're not afraid to say about what like stuff doesn't work, but you're not somebody who makes your channel out of punching down, and I think that's a really neat thing. And I'm like, we're both big fans of Angry Video Game Nerd even, but there was like a prevailing taste that kind of happened at that point where like the cynicism was so much that it was like, I can't keep up with this, and like yours is like funny and really genuinely interested in the stuff, even if it doesn't completely ring 100% with you. It's not like you're using it like a punching bag,
Right.
So
right.
It's been refreshing to tune in and catch your shows for that,
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, like with Angry Video Game Nerd, like he's doing a bit. Like he's doing a bit.
Yeah.
And then you can see the fallout from that, like Nostalgia Critic, who's also doing a bit, but he's not really understanding the bit as much.
Yeah.
And then you go to Angry Joe, who's also doing a bit, but it's so harsh and severe that it's like, no, you're just mad. You're just shouting. You don't get the comedy behind the bit of talking about smelly, stinky diarrhea poop that I'd rather be eating off the side of the highway than play this fucking game.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, at the end of the day, all of this is entertainment. So, like,
Yeah.
it's one thing to make a video game for you and a couple friends. But when you put something out and you're like, oh, we want this to be appealing to a bigger slice of the pie than just the
Mhm.
usual suspects. So that is no matter what you create, if it's an entertainment venue or entertainment avenue, it has that weird expectation that's very daunting for a lot of people. And
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
so, but it's something that I think both Hex and I have enjoyed for a long time, even just in our own careers and attempts at being what I can only for myself describe as being a highly functioning village idiot. Or
Get
where
that?
yeah,
Real?
it's sometimes an amazing banger will come out, and then another time I'll very self-indulgent, like, what on earth is she thinking kind of thing comes out,
Mhm.
and I enjoy working that way,
I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of merit to that self-indulgent moment. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? You got to have that little thing like, no, this is just this bit right here is just for me. And if somebody gets it or thinks it's clever or whatever, then great. But this one's for me.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
we created our own little meme, and we're gonna drive it into the planet's core. We'll be right back. We'll do
Yeah.
something more substantial later, but right
Hey,
now we're
don't
gonna
fish.
don't fish exactly.
Yeah, no, don't fish. Just smile and nod. Take this one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, well, most of the game, like I would say the majority of the games that are influential to me and that I like are games that have, they're not necessarily mechanically amazing, but they have like a lot of they it's like the vibe of them is overrides
Mhm.
anything else that might, they're ambitious, but they're flawed. Like one of the
Yes.
games you reviewed recently is one of my favorite games, Killing Time.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has so much like character to it, and
Mhm.
the atmosphere. It sort of feels like a stage play, and
Oh, yeah, no, that's a great way of describing that. Stage play is a
yeah,
great way of describing that. The character thoroughly outweighs like there's a few flaws. There's a bunch of little flaws in that game, but like
yeah,
no, I thoroughly agree with you. Character, it's like it's that fucking conversation in Pulp Fiction where they talk about how Jules doesn't eat pork. It's like, why are you Jewish? It's like, no, I just don't dig on pork. You know, it's a
yeah,
filthy animal. Pig's a filthy animal. Dog's a filthy animal. Dog has a personality. Personality goes a long way, and
Yeah.
it goes right back to that. I think.
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah.
So what?
That's.
So then,
Oh,
I
go ahead.
guess. So like, what games would you be thinking of? Let's say, so other than Killing Time, games that have the vibes. They may not be the most quality construction, but those vibes that stick out to you enough where you're like, no, 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 I want to play that. Like, what else do you think of?
On my part, interestingly enough, I felt like it was a Christmas present, like a early Christmas present when Night Dive remastered both Killing Time and PO'd, because those were two
Ooh.
games that I loved from my childhood, but were,
Yeah, it was
didn't
kind
get a
of
lot of
fun.
recognition.
It was fun to watch that hit back to back with Hex because they're both kind of deep cuts. And so, like, we got hit with one deep cut that got remastered, and we're like, holy shit. And Hex actually made the joke is like, yeah, well, you know people at Night Dive, tell them about, getting to Killing Time, LOL.
Yeah,
And they were actually, doing that. And I
yeah.
have,
PO'd were like were like the top of my list. Some of the top of my list of games that I wish they would have done, but like at the bottom of the list of games I would have expected them to have done.
Oh, that came out of nowhere too.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah.
like even I was like, wait a minute, I remember this game from '95. What's going on here? What
Exactly.
year is this?
Yeah, now we're beginning to place bets to what they're going to cover next, like Extreme Paintball or Redneck Rampage. You know,
Redneck
like
Rampage has to be done.
Corn Cob 3D, which is one that I actually have a.
3D.
Oh, you don't know Corn Cob 3D either?
Oh no, I guess I don't have my finger on the pulse of what's popular these days. I don't know Corn Cob 3D.
No, it's a
Pie in
very
the Sky software ring a bell?
Does what ring a bell?
Pie in the Sky software. They did the game creation system. A lot of early
that's
FPS
getting
indie
there.
games.
That's
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
there.
super early. Yeah, they were the indie of the early 90s, so it was shareware. And there was this game, it was this surreal thing called Corncob 3D. And it was a hybrid of like a flight simulator and an FPS in 3D.
Wow.
And
Wow.
you could like hop out of your little plane. You could even control it with a remote control. It feels like a cursed game. It has almost this eerie feel to it.
Fucking love that.
But it's like a shitpost flight simulator, and I've always wanted to see another one of those since then, because we don't have enough shitpost flight sims.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm also a huge aviation junkie, so that's right up
Oh,
my
really?
alley. Yeah.
Oh yeah, same here. Same here. I don't have nearly the brain space to memorize as much of it as I want to, but big fan of 1930s, 1940s aviation, that World War II era, especially like the racing planes.
Oh yeah, those are beautiful.
Oh man, the GB Model Z has been just etched into my brain ever since the first time I saw the Rocketeer. And
Oh
so
yeah.
I've had to know more like ever since then. Like I've got this great book. It's essentially a coffee table book that was published, I think, maybe in the 50s. It's called September Champions. And there's this one anecdote that someone was talking about during this one race, because they would, they're flying at like fucking 200 miles an hour, and the plane rattled so much that it actually broke apart. But they're flying over downtown LA, so the fucking engine crashes through the roof of someone's house and landed in their living room.
Holy crap.
Oh my god.
And it's like nothing like that could ever happen today. But like that was just like, yeah, we're just flying over the city right now. We're just racing.
Yeah, casual death race in the sky.
And there's the name of your shitpost aviation scene. It's Casual Death Race in the Sky.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, we have so many. Go on.
No. Go ahead, please.
I was gonna say we just have so many ideas, and like for what we want to do. Hopefully after Phobolis is done, and we sleep for 2 years.
Right.
So, but
right.
One of the things we want to get to is making a game, and on that list is shitpost flight simulator. But we
I love the little question mark at the end there. That's great. The little simulator.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway,
so let's talk about Phobolis then. Let's talk about that. So, God, it's been just a little over a year since I covered it on my channel. And I think it was Alpha Beta Gamer, which is where I first saw footage of it. And that was what led me to go look it up. I'm finding you on Twitter, finding your itch.io site, and then playing the game. So, like, first of all, what a fucking achievement. This game, like, even in that early state, that game utterly blew me away, because it immediately harkened me back to like old PS2 era survival horror games, but with the immediacy of like the modern retro shooter control scheme. And it just has this like an interesting etheric sort of atmosphere where everything makes sense, even though you have no idea what you're looking at, which I think is very difficult to pull off. Almost kind of Japanese horror cinema, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's I love the visuals, I love the symbolism, and I love the storytelling that has been presented so far. And it's easily one of my most anticipated games as you're progressing through it. So let's where did the initial concept come from? Like, what was let's go back. Let's think about what was the spark that sort of led to, okay, this is a concept that I want to turn into a game, but like what sort of created that initial spark for you?
Well, when it began, it was me all alone. But I was also part of a couple Discord communities at the time. I was actually thinking about really retiring from video game design at that period, but I was hanging out in a dev server with a bunch of these other really creative people, and they were all doing stuff in Unreal, or not. This is going to be a recurring theme. Unreal and Unity are forever flipped in my head, but they were using Unity to make some really cool things, and I was just kind of not in the headspace to make anything yet and do anything substantial. I really had gotten turned away from video games as a creator for a while. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. They're all making these really cool games with this retro shader that they have, and they're having so much fun. I gotta try it out. So I made basically a Wolfenstein ripoff with 90-degree walls and a very rudimentary FPS cam, some gritty textures, and I thought, okay. And then it as soon as I started getting more effects in, I was like, oh god, I could actually make the FPS I always wanted to.
Oh, it's a chasm,
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's like Chasm, and I started mining in my head all the games that I wanted to just steal shamelessly from. And then can I actually make something from all this stolen shit, or is it just going to be me talking to people about how I miss the 90s? And so I started playing around with it, and next thing I knew, I kind of had an idea. I was getting really proud and excited over what was happening, so I was showing these pictures and videos without any idea of what the heck it was. And then it got to a point where it needed a name, and I was like, we'll call it, and I used it for my earlier project, but I was like, oh, we'll call it Phobolis, a mixture of the word phobia and metropolis, like the city of fear. And then it was gathering so much steam and momentum. I was like, oh no, I didn't even know what I created yet, and people were coming out willing to help out, do voice acting, do art, do other things, and next thing I know, we have an art collective, and we're working on a major FPS. So it was accident. I don't know what I did.
What was the time frame there from you starting out with that towards getting to that accidental collective now working on this? How long did that take?
I'd say it took about a year, but it wasn't something that I had made any bullet points or a goal toward. It was just sort of I'm going to keep working on this game. Hey, you over there with a really good skill that I need, would you be willing to help out? By the way, I'm broke as hell, so, I put it all on the table, and I was extremely transparent. And I was like, I'm not trying to shyst anyone here. I have made games. I have earned my stripes. So, if you want to help out, I'd love to, but if you've heard enough of these and you just got to keep going, that's fine. So I was just very gracious and patient, and if there was an idea that I couldn't find someone else to help me with, or, I didn't know where to begin, I would just make a janky answer for it and keep moving.
Right. Yeah, there's something to be said about just having people line up to want to help just based on a concept, you know?
Yeah.
They see that and they're like, no, I want in. I want in on that. I want to help out with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then Hex got involved about a year in, and then she was basically in charge of the audio design, the music and things like that for the most part. And then after we made the change over to Unreal, she did a lot. She really became an absolute force of nature at that point. And
thank you.
Yeah, and when I started looking at what she was making and what I was making, I was like, how about we just make this an entire goddamn pipeline that we're making. So like an engine inside of an engine is effectively what we're going for now.
Interesting. So like in what sense would you say, so like an engine inside of an engine, like is that kind of referencing how like the game itself looks downgraded like from modern graphics, like you're going for that because you have intentionally set yourself up with a 4:3 aspect ratio. You're locking it in at 30 FPS, although you can, I think you said that you can change that in the settings.
Yeah. All the things that we're
Okay.
going to be hard-nosed about, like the ratio and the speed, the frame rate, will be optional so that if people have like motion sickness or they just like flat out don't like it, they can get rid of it. But yeah,
Right.
we would really like to urge people to try experiencing all these features they normally roll their eyes at and see if we can do them in a way that gives some kind of service to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, one of the things, interestingly enough, when you said that it reminds you of a PS2 survival horror game, like
Yeah.
when we made the switch over to Unreal Engine, and I was much more familiar with that than Unity, I was like, I kind of was playing around with some environment design in Blender, because I have like a love-hate relationship with Unreal Engine's editor for level design. Like, I kind of like the whole aesthetic of like PS2 era games where like it's not BSP like Quake style engine stuff, but it's sort of somewhere in like a hybrid of that with like with smooth terrain. It was sort of like hand modeled terrain and stuff like that. So I was playing around with that, and yeah, like with the engine and an engine thing, it's kind of like we created a set of made up limitations. In fact, we were kind of playing around with this idea of a fictional gaming computer system that existed in like the late 90s, early 2000s kind of range, where it's like it's sort of like a retrofuturism kind of thing where what could conceivably be done, it's like, not because it was sort of PlayStation 1 before a little bit, but now it's kind of what could have conceivably been done by some incredibly skilled obscure demo scene group working with a hardware manufacturer or something.
Okay.
And but yeah, sort of a combination of creating like a fictional set of limitations for ourselves that we stick to, and also on the end of like Blender, using like I use Blender to create. I use like the new geometry node system in Blender to create like essentially an alternate way of working to Unreal Engine for the level design and everything. A lot of custom tools, stuff like that.
Yeah. I think I like that idea of the self-imposed limitations of like giving yourself like, that fictional technology that you can only work so much within, because like I think part of the spark that came out of all of those old shooters, the retro boomer shooters from the 90s and early 2000s, was the technological limitations. So all that working around that, like trying, like, how can I work around this? Like, what we're creating new technology, but also only have so much space. I only have so much to work with. And I think a lot of the creativity came out of those limitations.
Yeah.
One of the big things is like, we will look at, like the idea, like we were talking about the fictional computer that Hex mentioned. Instead of playing that as a goofy kind of game clam style joke, it's more like a matter of like, what if SGI dabbled in trying to create some pro-grade computer that never took off, but a couple devs made some incredible games for it,
Yeah.
And so it won't ever be referenced in the actual game itself, but that was our standard. So we always will look at a new feature or effect and go like, would the computer really be able to do this? you know, and
Yeah.
I fucking love that.
we don't have any
Yeah.
like hard specs that we imagine or anything, but like we just kind of ask ourselves, would this fantasy computer be able to do this? So like, and that's kind of how we measure everything that we come up with. One time we had a very elaborate and beautiful smoke and fog system that was
Mhm.
very deluxe and very DirectX 11 and so on and so forth. And it looked good, but it was like, this is a little bit 2000 plus for us. We want to stick more on the back in the 1900s. So yeah.
Yeah. And I like that because then so I was reviewing all the footage that I took for my video that I did last year, and I was rewatching all the gameplay footage, and what really struck me was a lot of those effects. The smoke effects from the grenades shooting, or like some of the blood effects from when you're hitting enemies. Those flat polygons, those flat colored polygons. There were times when, and I don't know how intentional this is, but that burst of blood out of an enemy with those flat geometric shapes almost looked like roses blooming.
A little bit, yeah.
And that takes on such an interesting addition to the aesthetics that you're going for there. It's like the blooming of life, but within the concept of death. And I'm just like fanboying over here, just like, this is good shit. Look at all of this shit. This is so good.
Aw.
The way they're doing everything is so good.
Yeah, that's actually interesting because that's something I noticed about the kind of one of those bits of technology that was way ahead of its time for when it was released. Was the Sega model systems, like the one that House of the Dead ran on, and that had that kind of look to a lot of the effects. In fact, one of the things I just got into Unreal Engine is this whole, it's like essentially a stop motion, a method of animating meshes in stop motion where each frame is an entire separate mesh. So like the blood effect that I just finished actually has like a lot of that House of the Dead, and it does like have like the rings of polygons that come out and everything like that.
Which is I love
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'm
Explosion.
gonna turn the volume. Oh wait, actually, but yeah, here's the explosion that we're doing. So we're gonna try and do a lot of our modern effects a little bit like this. You can see.
Let me hold on. I'm trying to get in there so I can see it. Okay, here we go. It's loaded. It's coming online. Come on, let me see. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Let me see that. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
See, I miss effects like that. So like when you look at Quake 1 and you look at like the fire effects, the flames, and it's just like a solid fucking model. And like here that it has a very similar vibe as a translucent but solid model. And it's just like, see, that's beautiful. That's working within your limitations, and like I'm creating those beautiful shit there.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. Here's our blood effect that we just got into. So, I mean, they're basically like three-dimensional sprites, you know? And we'll be using them like particles. We'll probably have a little bit of 2D-ishness in there as well when we really start tweaking these for actual elements. But for now, yeah, the center point of it is going to be the mesh, you know, the three-dimensional shape animating like that. We want to have a little bit of a Ray Harryhausen-ness to this. So we're gonna avoid a lot of really slippery frame tweening. If we end up doing a ragdoll or physics system, we're gonna try and kind of enjankify it a little bit to make it really feel like it's being done on, 64 megs of RAM and 300 megahertz.
Love that. That's beautiful.
So we have a mantra with our team, and it is make the lie real.
Ooh.
And it comes down to all the shit that, as kids we lied about on the playground, saying like, oh, I played Doom the other day, I shot a guy and a hole went straight through him and he fell in half and rolled down the stairs. Like,
Mhm.
they're just sprites. That don't happen.
Mhm.
We're like, well, why? Oh, we have the technology. Why don't we make that lie real?
That's beautiful.
I think like um, the first real good example I saw of that was a Quake mod, actually, where a lot of that weird, unknowable horror got explored upon some more, and they kind of fleshed out just a little bit with like little graphics and animations and things, enough
Mhm.
for to be like, oh, someone else gets Quake the way I get Quake,
God,
and
yeah.
exploring some of the cutting room floor ideas that didn't get put out, or like mods like Arcane Dimensions is another really good one that did that.
Uh-huh. Did you
And
try the Immortal Luck? Just a quick side note. Did you get to try that?
Immortal Lock, not yet. Now,
Okay.
uh, that's the sad thing about being a game dev, is that like you can't keep up with the games you like as much.
Yep. Yeah, I feel that trying to make videos on games means that there's a whole lot of games that I'm like, yeah, someday that's going to the backlog.
Yeah, that's gotta suck though, because I imagine there's a lot more than just like FPS that you're really into, and you're like, oh, I want to get to that, but it's gonna have to wait.
There's a few. Like I'm in such a wonderful FPS renaissance, which is like why I'm like making this channel. Because I
Mhm.
went through a bit where I was like, well, I'm not a big fan of fantasy, like as a genre. And I was like, well, maybe I just need to give fantasy games, maybe I need to give fantasy stories a shot. And I just need to actually like immerse myself in it. And I played, it was a medieval was the first thing I played, and
Mhm.
then I played Hexen and Heretic, and then I played Skyrim, and I'm like, wow, I really do like fantasy. This is fucking incredible. And then I played the Witcher trilogy, which
Ah,
is an incredible trilogy of games, but there was like something there that I couldn't like. I wasn't enjoying it as much as I was the other games. And so after I finished The Witcher, I tried to get into Dragon Age and was like, wow, I really just don't fuck with this. Why is that?
Yeah.
And I just had to circle back around. It's like all of the games that I was really vibing with were all in first person. And
ah.
so that was my like, so I really want to play first person shooters and or games that are played in first person. That's my fucking vibe. And so then that led to the eventual creation of the channel, et cetera, et cetera. So like there are a few games where I'm like, oh, there's a party game I'll play with my kids or something, or like, they want to go back and replay the Uncharted games, and I'm like, yeah, let's go. We should go do that at some point. But then I'm just like, well, pretty much most of the games I want to play are first person, regardless. So,
Yeah.
um, so okay, so making the lie real, and in that sense, like I want to talk about like the overall vibes that we're going for here with the game with Phobolis. I remember when we had talked once upon a time, Ammon, you had mentioned that the idea was this to be the art rock version of the heavy metal boomer shooters out there. You specifically cited like King Crimson and Nine Inch Nails' The Fragile as kind of like influences or vibes that you were aiming for.
Mhm.
Um, so here with Phobolis, I'm curious, like, how much are you like leaning and driving creatively with like the vibe, for example, and then how much do you feel you're driving creatively with like a linear like narrative or plot or like set of design schematics, if that makes sense?
I think, well, when this began, I realized, what I've been missing in FPS games is something that's a little bit more um, sincere, but not in a Call of Duty or Rainbow Six kind of way. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the FPS genre is, uh, I don't know. Like it got so far into its own gravitas for a while that things like Doom needed to come along and go like, look, this is fun. It's beer and explosions and fire, and
Yeah.
like and when that happened, and then the retro shooter scene kind of started really picking up, I was like, I didn't feel jealous or insecure. I felt relieved. I was like, oh, thank God I don't have to make these games. They exist. But
Yes.
it left a craving in me for something that would be a little like, how can we take the games that are like these really emotionally gripping indie titles that really do kind of like do a mind trick on you to make you think about something that you really weren't prepared for, but you needed to, and put it in the framework of something that is just cool FPS shooter, that feels good to play. If you don't really want to go and read into the deeper meanings of everything, you can just pick it up and make the TV look cool for a half hour and then go eat a sandwich. So we're like, how do we take something artsy and turn it into, how do we fit it in that box?
Right.
How do we use this kind of like a Trojan horse, And and that was a really interesting idea for me, and that's what set our compass at the start, I think, really, when this became more of an actual game of its own.
Right.
So it's been a lot of us sort of talking about really heavy things that we have gone through in the past 4 years, and trying to think of ways to make a story that could reflect a general feeling of that without making people feel like they're reading our diary entries. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or
Because it feels like a. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
having it be our very narrow list of life experiences, but more like, what do you do after you become really fucked up? And is there a way back out? And, who's really in charge of your life at this point? And, like, are you happy where you're at and how you got here? And, like, how do you do that with an electric toy?
Yeah. And there's a sense of all of that I've gotten from Phobolis. Is there are some pieces of art I feel where you can tell that there is a genuinity behind the scenes. Like there is something very personally invested into the creation of that art, whether it's aspects of the story or the visuals. And like there's a very strong sense of personal experience that is then being filtered and reshaped here with this game. So it so like no what you're saying 100% I think is coming through with the project. Would you say that the narrative what there is, and like how much of how much of the game do you think is like actual narrative? Like are you telling a specific story here with this, or are you creating in your head, you think, like more of a feeling of like symbolism and metaphor that's trying to present a sensation?
I think it's a little bit closer to maybe a little bit like how David Lynch works, where you can actually follow the plot of most David Lynch movies, even if there's big holes that don't necessarily make sense on the surface. And then later on you realize those holes were intentional, and they're a place for you to color in your own shading, if you will. So it really is more about the concepts that we're covering, and we allude to some things like codependency, addiction, loss. So those are really the first thing that comes to mind, and when we're gonna try and put something in the player or the audience's lap, the story comes second, and the most important thing is to go like, how do we get an electric toy to try and get them to feel this, So yeah, I guess the aura and the vibe of it comes before the story, but there is going to be an actual story to it as well,
Okay. So the main character Moment has an A to B, but simultaneously that story is, the game is less in service of the story and more in service of how do we want the player to feel.
Hmm. I think that's about right. What do you think, Hex?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very much kind of a dream logic thing where it's like you're the atmosphere of well, I mean, obviously doing a lot of the environment art stuff. Like it's really important for us to like get deliver a feeling through just even just the environment you're in.
And it feels very tangible too. That's what that was something that I felt very impressed by and like very connected to. Oh, excuse me.
Ooh.
Yeah, don't worry. It's just the protein shake going down the wrong pipe. Everything's fine.
Okay. All right.
Everybody's okay. I promise. No, the tangibility, the texture of the world that you're creating, it feels very alive. Like if you were to abandon everything else that you were doing with this game and say made a hard pivot and went, we're just gonna make like a weird puppet combo cyberpunk game, and this is just going to be a weird dead world that you wander in and wonder, and it's just fucking it would feel utterly inhabitable and real.
Thank you.
A lot. Yeah.
It's so present. You know what I mean? Like it's rare to look at a game world and think, yeah, that is like lived in. That is a place that has been inhabited by other people, and now I am here within that world walking around it. And Phobolis feels like that, which is astounding. Like I think that's very rare, and I think that's super key to the ideas that you're going for. And like, would you say that there is like touching on the themes that you were talking about, like, like you've hit rock bottom, everything's fucked up. Do you have control? Do you have choice? Like, where do you go from here? There's a moment in the demo which flashes to an apartment in the real world, and then everything takes a very dark, horrific turn. Do you lean more into that? Would you like when you think of Phobolis, is horror a word that comes to mind as a part of like your elevator pitch for it?
I'd say so. I mean, like, I think I have the same hang up with horror that, like, the term horror that, like, oh gosh, wow, I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. Guy who was in a lot of Hammer films. You and I both like him a lot, Hex. Mustache.
Christopher Lee?
Not Christopher Lee.
No.
His BFF.
And now I know I can see his face. I can see his face, and now I'm drawing the same.
Oh no, it's
blank.
contagious. It's contagious.
Oh, it really is. It's the brain worm. Oh God. Vincent Price.
Mm-hmm.
Vincent
Price.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Okay.
Wow. I'm sorry I poisoned everyone with that. Damn.
No, it's okay. I literally picked
National
up my phone to
treasure.
start Googling, and it hit me before I could Google it. So.
So yeah, Vincent Price had an approach on horror where he said that it seems kind of like a very limited way to define it, but we don't have a better way. You can't make you say like scary movie, But what we do want to do is mess with people's heads, but in a way that leaves them with food for thought and it isn't just a bummerama. I think we've had enough of those.
Yeah.
We don't just want to leave the audience feeling like, oh, well, everything is hopeless and, nothing is ever going to change. But we do want to make sure that we don't pull our punches and really do cause the audience to feel uncomfortable about where they are and even at certain points what they have done. And without ever doing anything like shaming them or giving them the moral option of like, collect 10 points and kill the baby or save the baby. It's like...
Oh, that's pointed.
you know,
And that is a very black and white kind of morality. Like, it's effective in the way that it was going to be effective, but like, I so get what you mean. Like,
we don't want the shock
Yeah.
we don't want the game to be just shock, but something that when you turn it off, it keeps rolling over in your head, and you're like, "The fuck did that mean?
Yeah,
Are they talking to me?" Yeah.
right,
a lot of my favorite kind of horror is like interpretive horror, stuff that is open ended, that you
yes.
can kind of it doesn't explain a whole lot, and it doesn't, and even the person creating it doesn't necessarily need to have an explanation in mind. It's just something that you can attribute your own experiences and fears or intrigue into.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I thoroughly get that. That's some of my those some of my favorite horror experiences, actually.
Yeah.
There's a Japanese film called Pulse from 2001.
Kairo.
Oh, yes, Kairo. Yes,
Yeah.
excellent flick. Excellent flick.
Yeah.
It haunts me to this day.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also think of like Jacob's Ladder, or there's a film, I think it's 86, with Mickey Rourke called Angel Heart. If you've ever heard of that one.
No.
That movie is the reason why I don't fuck with voodoo.
Oh, interesting.
Like, I grew up in a religious household and then walked away from that, and I have a healthy disdain for all things religious, but I don't fuck with voodoo, man. No, that shit's real, and I'm fine with not finding out the hard way whether it is or not.
I'm like that with Ouija boards and tarot cards, actually. I've never heard anyone say, "You know what? I had a really great time playing with the Ouija board the other day." You never hear that sentence.
No, you don't.
You hear them say, I used it and nothing happened," or they say, "I used it and horrible things happened." And whether that's like a weird mental Houdini wish fulfillment or magic is real, I don't care. The results are the same. I'm not going to play with that. It's
like being hypnotized. You see people get hypnotized on stage or in videos or whatever, and then you see them being manipulated or whatever, and in the back of your head is like, "Oh, well, I couldn't,
Right.
I wouldn't. I'm too conscious of it."
Yeah.
But then, like, are you going to really sit down and try it for yourself and see if you can be hypnotized? Like, no.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, like I think one of the things that makes me think a lot, another thing I like about horror is, like, I know for myself, and I think Amon is the same way, as like, not a lot of horror is like necessarily does it for me when it comes to like actually scaring me. It's more like the thing but I love horror because it's a way to have a world with like absolutely no hard and fast rules or predictability.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the siren call of the monster closet or the jump scare comes from, because you are free to do it in horror more than maybe even in comedy. But like just because you can doesn't mean that you should make it all like just nothing but jump scares and like depression entertainment.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said for the subtlety of horror, of the implications. And I like what you were saying about how there are no hard and fast rules. Like, anything could happen. I was watching Suspiria with my kids the other day.
Heck yeah.
And they've never seen it, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is great." And the scene where one of the characters is trying to get away from a potential killer and then walks through a door and immediately falls into a pit full of barbed wire.
Yeah.
And it's like, why is that there? You can stop and logic it out. Be like, why is that room there? Why is there this just fucking pit of barbed wire between two doors? And it's like, that doesn't fucking matter. What matters is, oh my God, please get out of there. Get out, get to the, how must that feel? Oh my God. That's good horror. It's not even a jump scare. There's no musical stinger or anything like that. It's just quiet, except for the sound of the shaking coils of the barbed wire and her screams as she's trying to get out of it. And it's like, nah,
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot with that, and sound is also a really big part of that. So I think we're in really good hands with the sound design as well. Like before this, it was just me making the best I could do with FL Studio. The more you know me, the more you realize that I'm not really a game designer or a musician or I'm a graphic designer that wandered into a whole bunch of rooms and never got chased out with a fire extinguisher. So, like, it makes things a little bit janky and weird, but then I have, for the first time ever, really, in my career, like, a whole group of people who are willing to not just, like, take direction, but also go, like, oh, I can trust them to really bring something amazing to the table that completely upends my expectations of what I wanted. And Hex's audio has been like that. So has the talent of our voice actors. Freya and Chloe have been doing a lot with their contributions. And I think between all of that, we're making something that is just really going to be hard to get out of your head,
Yeah, definitely.
Amon, you have talked very openly on Twitter about hitting burnout during the course of this project, and obviously there's a lot of wheels spinning, there's a lot of plates to juggle, there's a lot of hats that you're wearing, and you hit a point where you had to step away from it for a little bit. And I think it's very refreshing to see developers saying, hey, this sucks. It's a lot of work, and sometimes it's too much work. And fortunately, you found a place so that you could come back to work and continue working on this project. But what do you do? Like, how do you feel like approaching that? And what do you do to try and pull yourself back? Like, how do you stop yourself when you have a project like this? When you have people that you're talking to and directing to, how do you find that space for yourself so you don't go over the edge and hit burnout? Like, what do you think are things that can prevent you from that? What do you do for yourself?
I have no idea how to prevent hitting burnout. I'm learning how to accept the fact that it happens, and also be accepting of it, and the fact that when you work in entertainment, and I'm sure you felt this before too, where you get this feeling that you have to be 10 times more productive than somebody who's working a 9 to 5 with a manager and a manager above them and a manager above them and a protocol. And but when you're doing it on your own, you feel like you are constantly having to prove to people that it's a quote unquote real job. And it can lead to a place that can really quickly bring about burnout, because you're trying to prove yourself against people who you never really need to in the first place. You don't owe these people any money. They're not related to you. They can have whatever opinion they need to. But so when you work on something like this and you work on your own, you can forget to give yourself vacations and time off, and your life becomes nothing but that. And especially if your life starts having really rough stuff happening in it. I went through a period where I had a massive amount of loss, family members passing away, losing my home, so on and so forth. It was a lot to keep up with, and I used work to cope with it, and then eventually I used work to get away from it. And then the next thing I knew, my work was the reason for it.
Yeah, wow.
And it was just making me unpleasant to work with. I didn't like what I was doing. I didn't like, uh, 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 but I wanted to like it. I remember that being a big thing, and I remember all these people that were here helping and wanting to see it keep going too. And I even had family members going like, "Don't give up on this," you know. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Okay, okay, I know I can't give up, but I can't keep going right now. It's not the healthiest, the most important thing."
Right.
So I had to prioritize um, healing up and getting healthy and getting back on my feet. And
Mm-hmm.
considering that we work more like a collective or a band than necessarily a studio with a lot of people just coming in if they can do the job, we have an intimacy between each other where we can confide in each other. And
Mm-hmm.
if it wasn't for the people in Infrablack, um, I would be pretty screwed even outside of the work element, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, having people that well being indie and having it not just be a job is a big beneficial thing because it's you just like you said, it's people you can really bounce stuff off of with each other and help each other get keep stay passionate about it and remember that it's not just work.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. And like I think, like we all, I think a lot of people on the internet, a lot of gamers are about as aware of crunch culture as we can be. Like it's certainly over the last, I think, like 5 to 10 years, become much more knowledgeable, much more spoken about. But I don't really think like that we as consumers or as gamers, especially those of us who follow the indie scene, really think about like the amount of work that goes into these indie games. I think we experience a sense of entitlement, especially with like early access games. This little bit comes into early access, and then there's more content promised, and then people go, "Oh yeah, this is great. When's more? When's the next drop? When are you doing more? How quickly
Yeah.
are you getting more? When do I get to have more?" And there's like, I think often because I talk to a lot of indie devs, and I get to see. I'm very very privileged to see a lot of behind the scenes stuff, like the slow progression of the game and how it develops. I've been in contact off and on with Osric, the developer of Viscera Fest, since the first early access drop. And we've had a lot of great conversations about like the work that goes into it, the production speed, like going back and reworking certain elements before working on new elements. Um, and I think that the gamers at large don't really stop and think about, it's almost a continual crunch for indie developers. I feel like
Um,
you're
it can become that
maybe
way. It can become that
okay.
way.
Okay.
And that is
I think.
also a big reason why we work the way we do. It doesn't mean
Hmm.
that we work slow. It doesn't mean that we're just spinning our wheels, but our work is one component of our lives.
Hmm.
And that is another big thing with Infrablack is that as much as this is an important thing to do, like, coming to work and clocking in and making sure that you're doing things instead of just iterating and experimenting for fun.
Hmm.
Another big thing is being like, hey, look, I can't come into work today. I think in reality, we put so much of our value on the ability to be worked. And there are times that work is not the most important thing we need to be doing in our lives. We need to be,
Right.
maybe we have a new member in the family, or maybe we're getting over an addiction, or maybe there's so many things that are happening in a person's life, and the job is not always the most important or necessary thing to improve the quality of life.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I do a lot to check in with people on the team and really, really make sure that I'm not asking them to do more than they should. I mean, like, especially because my paychecks are very small and random, and they kind of come from when we get a funding from somebody. I try and give as much of that as I can to everyone, and then we use the rest of that to enhance our workflow. But it's very important to me to know that the people working on this are prioritizing themselves before this thing. Because without them, then we have nothing. And I'm not just I'm not gonna use people as like a stylist to get things done that I want done. You know.
Yeah, balance is extremely important.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's good to hear. I'm glad that like is something that you put a lot of focus on over there. Because again, like I don't know, I definitely see. I think from the audience perspective, from the online, the talking mouths, the gamers who are like, I can't wait for more, and it's like there's only so much that can be generated at any time. Like there is a lot of work that goes into this. It is work.
Yeah. There is no button that just says make game.
Yeah. Unless you're using all AI assets, in which case.
In that case, you get what you pay for.
Oh my god.
Creeping melting nightmare that doesn't even.
Shitpost flying simulator.
Yeah.
Oh man.
There's a funny anecdote that Rebecca Heineman, Berger Heineman, she was talking about her work on porting her porting within a very short time frame Doom to the 3DO. And
wow.
Apparently one of the people, or the guy in charge of the project, was not technically inclined at all, and he wanted her to essentially put new weapons in the game at the last minute, and she said that he literally thought that you could just like draw a picture of a new weapon and then like somehow feed it into a computer and it would just make the weapon.
Oh my god.
Yep. Like a lot of my before I went all in on this, I was a freelancer, so I'd field a lot of very interesting questions from clients like that were just like, can't you just hit the make good button, you know?
Yeah.
And having to break out the hand puppets and explain some things a little bit, it was humbling because it made me realize that like just because I know it doesn't mean that other people do. And it changed up my bedside manner a little bit when I work with clientele. And then also, I think that changed up. It set a good example for me going forward as like trying to be a director here, and the way I might phrase or describe things that I am looking at and am asking somebody else to create for me, so that I don't end up in a situation where I ask them to paint me a Rembrandt, and then when they do, I'm like, I didn't want a Rembrandt. I wanted something else. I only realized now after you painted me an entire painting that it was wrong, and I want something else. People think that having a role as a director is cool because I get to just like sit and tell people what to do. But one of the most horrifying things for me is to look over what people have done and have to go like, okay, that's wrong. That's wrong. Fix that. I like what you did here. And red pen somebody who's in their specific discipline way better than me. And so it's been. I'm so timid. But I also try not to do the thing where I just tell people out of nervousness, like, yeah, that's good, and then,
yeah, exactly.
Right. Because you don't want to fall into that trap, and then later on, the dissatisfaction will just gnaw at you.
Exactly. Yeah. Because if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Or if it needs more work, it needs more work. And I've been incredibly lucky with everybody here that have shown me things and have handled it really, really well when I come back and go, okay, well, this is good, but what's going on here, or I don't like this, and so on and so forth. It's a very new hat for me to wear. I'm used to being self-critical, but
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
with other people, it's it's a very weird thing. It's an intimate thing to red pen, you know.
It is. It is. I've fuck. Have you ever done any like workshops or like story workshops or anything like that?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, everything you're talking about is something that I feel like I've experienced to a degree in like short story workshops where you take this thing that somebody wrote and it feels very like, okay, you put yourself into this. This is like a creation of yours, and now I'm going, no, this here, no, that there, no, this here,
Yeah.
but but like you're sitting in a position where you're like, I am asking for something, and now you're bringing it to me, and now your vision and my vision now have to come to a compromise,
Mhm.
and like someone's vision needs to change, but then like I so get that, like that timidity of, yeah, that's fine, yep, no, we're good,
Yeah.
I got you, nailed it on the first try.
Like Ed Wood, perfect. Print it.
Yeah.
It's in.
One cut and done. Um,
Yeah.
it is fun to work that way. I do want to make some games where it's just like the first idea is the best, but
Yeah.
Oh, that would be incredible.
yeah.
Yeah.
That would be incredible.
So we have ideas for, and I really do like working loose and sloppy. And another thing has been learning how other people work.
Mm-hmm.
Hex is
Mhm.
very, very methodical and organized and nested, and also very quick too. And so, like, when we began working, and I'd ask her to make an asset, I would get something that was like on the victory lap of its process, and it would be like a little bit difficult and intimidating for me to be like, oh, well, you're already at the victory lap, but this is absolutely not what I needed.
Mm-hmm.
And like, and then having to ask her to go back and do again. So it's been a lot of me using the phrase chicken wire and duct tape.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, where like when we work on a level, like we're building out Act 2 right now, the first level of Act 2, and I was like, just give me chicken wire and duct tape. I just want gray blocks, and we'll worry about the questions to things as they go. And
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
it's been really cool to see, and I hope that I've been doing good to work, be
Oh,
good
you
to
have.
work with
Well,
on that.
one of with all that said, one thing that I've really appreciated about working with you is you do, um, while you're directing the project, you really do listen, and you know, uh, anytime I've made a case for something, you've listened to it, and even when you have decided to not go with it, I feel like I've been listened to.
That's good. I'm really glad
Yeah.
about that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Um
it has been a baptism of fire. Oh God, I see we ran over our window. If we need to let you go, that's cool. But if you just want to
Oh
chill and
no,
hang out,
I
I'm
was
cool with it too.
well, I do need to get going soon,
Mm.
but I did want to wrap up. I wanted to ask, so with the you we transitioned from Unity to Unreal,
Mhm.
and you've talked a lot about how the Unreal Engine has just like opened a lot of creative doors in your brain, and like development has just like just like skyrocketed. So like what so where are you at with Phobolis now, and like do you have like an idea, like a window in mind of when we get to see either an early access release, or in your head when 1.0 would look like?
I don't have any solid numbers, and I've tried to do that a couple times, but the big hurdle that we're running into right now is that on the most like uh yeah, belt to teeth level of this whole endeavor, it's mainly me and Hex alone working on this, and Hex has some good experience in Unreal, uh, but me coming from using Photoshop, and then Game Maker, I am not in Kansas anymore. There's been a lot of learning on my side. I wasn't even a 3D creator until 2018. So like, what would really help is if we could get some people who are okay working with a green team that is not, that is going to have a lot of naivety in spots with Unreal, but also would be willing to help us get some things working. We've been trying to make the AI system that we'd like to have in it, which isn't necessarily that tricky, but nothing that we're getting in the asset store is obviously scratching that itch. And so we need to make this feature complete. So it's got a bit of mileage before it can actually be a playable thing that we can present to people in the same way that the Unity build was. But I'm going to say maybe springtime would be something that I'd like to shoot for. Like early summer, something to get people in people's hands. We really, really want this to come out and be playable because we're actually having a lot of fun just playing the tech demo. We're just running through empty rooms, but we want to get those features back in, and we do need help for that. So our big push lately has been to get support, whether that be financial backing so we can hire people, or also people who would be willing to contribute their time, knowing full and well that we really aren't in the place that we can offer paychecks yet, but that's not where we want to stay. This is really something we want to make into a legitimate AA piece of entertainment that's going to last for quite a while once it comes out. So yeah, that's really kind of our sticking point at the moment, I think. And then as we grow, we'll be able to teach people the do's and don'ts of our level building system, and that way we could also have some level designers come on, so it's not just myself and Hex making literally every map. If we're making this a full campaign, we're going to need some more muscle, basically.
Right.
And
are you still thinking about doing that fundraiser?
Yes. Yep. In fact, off the record, we're going to be trying to do that here in December or January. So we'll be launching our website. We'll be putting up a whole bunch of new things for people to buy on our store. It'll be kind of like an outward-facing pitch deck, if you will. And then there'll be an inward-facing one that we can share with people who are like publishers if we can find someone who understands what we're going for and would be interested in supporting it. That would be ideal, but we do know that we're asking a lot from a publisher. So, that is about, that's a very complicated way to answer your question. I'm sorry.
No. There's no easy. There's no simplistic answers. I remember you mentioned that, and I think God, that was like back in like earlier this year, like April or May.
Yeah.
And I've had my ear to the ground since then. I'm like, okay, when am I going to be reposting, and when am I going to be sharing, and when do I get to donate, and when do we get to do all the things? So,
yeah,
so I'm going to be hyping the hell out of that.
Please
once
do.
we get that set up.
That's really appreciated.
I love your game. I believe in your game. Like, this is connected with me on a personal, like, internal level that few artistic experiences do.
Damn.
And I really believe when things resonate with you like that, they're very special, and you need to pay attention to them. And I think that what you have going on here is a really important game. I think it's going to be really important, and I think it needs to be placed into the hands of other people to experience. So like, I'm on board. I've been on board, and I really can't wait to see where you go with this and what you end up making with it. It's going to be great.
Yeah, well,
It means
thank
so
you very
much to hear.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, what we really
Yeah.
want to do to the FPS scene, especially the indie scene right now, is, and try being the big keyword, but give it the shot in the arm that Half-Life did for mainstream FPSs in the 90s, where we're not necessarily bringing anything new to the table, but we're going to be composing it in such a cohesive way and doing it in a unique way that's very different than what was expected normally, that it changes the way what people look for in a shooter action game. It doesn't replace what they already liked, but it gives them something new to look forward to. And so that's our big goal here with this, is to just, change the entire goddamn industry.
Yeah, why not? Aim big.
Yeah.
Let's aim fucking big.
Absolutely.
What's the worst thing that'll happen? We'll fail at an electric toy. Okay.
Yeah, you know.
So
And even if it quote unquote fails, even if you don't change the whole industry, like, my God, the journey and the swing that you take with it, like, fucking it. I mean, I'm just looking at the footage here. You're just like zooming through everything. This is gorgeous.
oh, thank
This
you.
is beautiful. This doesn't. It has its own creative energy. It has its own vibe. There isn't anything like, I've compared it to, like, Fatal Frame, Siren, Silent Hill 1. Like, it's got like a cyberpunk techno body horror vibe to it, but there isn't anything that I see here in this game that I can really compare it to that's already out there. Like, there isn't anything that looks like what you're making. And with just that strong artistic identity right there, regardless of how it hits with other people and lands, it's going to be at least memorable for that. And with the vibe and the aesthetics and the visual symbolism, like, it's going to be something that will stick with people, I believe.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. And you're right, and like you said, even if this does just kind of end up being some deep cut that, let's say we can't get everybody else on board and we have to make this a much more narrow and vertical slice of what we intended to, that'll still happen. We would like to realize the entire thing, though, and that's the big push that is making it a slow process for us, but it's worth it for us to be like, we're not stepping down and we're not going to take maybe for an answer. We really want to do this. And it's it's just been a lot of work, and but it feels like the right kind of work to do. And I think that's another thing that keeps us going, and me going, is like, when I got to thinking like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, I'm like, well, what else would I be doing? Like, cleaning toilets at a store,
Yeah,
and
right?
I've done that before, and I can do it again, but I think this is a little bit more something I should be doing. If I have the opportunity to try doing, then I should be doing it,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
But
well,
thank you so much for being on board with this, and
really, thank you.
helping us do this little interview too. This was a lot of fun.
Good. Yeah, no, I had a blast. I had a fucking blast. I'm when are you doing Quad Damage again?
December 1st.
December 1st. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Oh, that's cool. That's Sunday. That's coming right up.
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah. Have you watched any of their other videos? Any of the other podcasts?
A couple, yeah.
Okay. They're such easygoing guys.
Oh,
such
really
easygoing guys.
Yeah, I love talking to Robert. He's a big sweetheart.
Robert is wonderful. I love Robert so much. Like, yeah, you're gonna have a great time. So hopefully this is definitely broken the ice a little bit for you. So kind of give you it's gonna be just like this. Like, there's some questions, and then they have like a segment where they do like, questions from the internet and shit like that. But it's like, it's very conversational. lot of questions, a lot of space for you to chat about the things that you're working on. So yeah, I hope you have a great time.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Well, I had a really good time here, so I'm expecting it.
Yeah. Anytime you want to hang out in general, just to see what the fuck we're doing, you are absolutely welcome to. We open the kitchen to you. It might be boring, or it might be us watching Columbo for the 30th time. But you're welcome to hang out anytime you want. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
One quick side note before I go, because I do got to get going. Are you familiar, musical artist Girl Hell 1999?
Never heard.
No.
Okay. Trans industrial music. She has an album. Her first album is called I Wish I Could Meet You All Again. Highly recommend you check that out because I listened to that album a lot. It's one of my favorites of the last couple of years. And I think about her music when I see your visuals, and when I hear her music, I just think about Phobolis as well. It's a very interesting sort of like that sonic impression really pulls the visuals that you've created out of my head. So something
very cool.
Something to go check out. It's also just a fantastic fucking album.
I got one recommendation for you. Next time you play the Phobolis demo, play a song called Frankie Teardrop as the music.
Okay, Frankie Teardrop.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Hell yes.
And yeah, get ready. It's a little uncomfortable, but it's amazing.
Oh, good. I love that. I fucking love that. I don't...
Yeah.
Did you send me? Are you talking about the demo, like the old Unity demo, or didn't you send me like the old Unity demo? Okay, perfect. Frankie Teardrop.
Yep.
Because I know you sent me like a little bit of like a beta, like a little tech demo to check out because you were working with the portals and stuff like that.
Yeah, I needed to see how it ran on other hardware. The blessings of working indie.
Cool. I'll boot up the demo, and I'm going to listen to Frankie Teardrop.
Sounds awesome. Well, hey, anytime you want to say hey, don't be a stranger, okay?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thank you enough. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
I will catch you later.
Yeah. I'll take it easy. Good luck with quad damage, and I'll be seeing you on Discord soon.
All right.
Thank you.
Cool.
See you around.
See ya.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye.